because when you think you know what your purpose is, you actually have no idea until you really drill down. And when you do come to the realization of what it is, it doesn't really matter what your passion is. Your purpose will always come to the fore, no matter what vocation you're in, what job you're doing, who you're supporting, what you're creating, etc. It will always come through. Does everybody hear me okay?
Yes, yep, sure.
Okay, good. So what I want to do is I'm going to share with you a document today, and then I'll give you a little bit of an insight into who I am and where I've come from, and my experience with sure, where is this? With really back into find this.
If the file is not too big, maybe you can send it to me and I can try to share my screen. Would be an option.
Yeah. Okay, well, I'll put it on in a few minutes. Okay, so let me give you a quick rundown into who I am and where I come from, so that you're all in the loop. So in 2015, I went to iLAB for the first time. I met Roger at an event in South Africa, and I was completely blown away because my aha moments came in where I was sitting with my wife at the time, and I was sitting there and I was saying, babe, this is exactly what I got to be doing. You know, I need to be standing in front of people. I need to be coaching people. I've gone through so many life experiences. My business has suffered so much over the many years. I have a security business, which is 13 years old now. It's now gone through 2 provisional liquidations. In 2010, I was sitting at home in my patio where I am right now, and I had the sheriff of the court come to the house to come and repossess my cars in my house and all of those kind of things. So it was a really traumatic time for me. But all the stuff that I put in place to make a success of my life and to turn the business around was based on the experiences that I had with the sheriff of the court, with staff, with people, with suppliers, with customers, etc. And it was really a very challenging time. And then when I met Roger, I then decided, look, I'm going to go to iLAB and see what this is all about. And so I spent 2 weeks at iLAB, and it was extremely difficult for me because I had no idea what to expect. I didn't know what I was going to learn. All I had was this feeling inside me that my life's going to change if I go to this iLAB. And how many of you had Terry? Did any of you have Terry?
Yes, I did. Yes.
Yeah, so you got one of the best at iLAB. And so Terry took me through a lot of questions that I had to ask myself around what it is that I really, really wanted out of life. And the most difficult part for me was identifying exactly what it is that I want out of life. And it always led me down the path to what is my why? What is my purpose? Why am I here? So I went through an exercise that I did myself, and it was a drill down exercise. And I really, really had to try and figure out what it was that I stood for and who I actually was. And it became really difficult for me because everything I thought I was, I believed about what my purpose was absolutely incorrect. So, excuse me, just let me just open this one. There we go. So then I designed a little thing called Adults Deep. I wanted to go through, and how do I identify what my purpose is? So let me just open this. Oops, the screen. Okay, let me share it with you. So Here we go. Can you guys see that?
Yes.
Yes, we can see it.
Okay, good. All right, so it's a 7-level deep exercise. We'll try and get this document to you, but we'll go through this exercise today because this is really insightful in understanding who you are and why you need to know this in order to achieve the results that you want to achieve. Because it really describes who you are. It describes why you live and why you behave the way that you do. So we're going to go through identifying your purpose. Hopefully today we're going to identify your purpose, each one of you. Okay, so the 7 levels deep exercise can be used to help determine what really drives you to accomplish anything in life. The following is a sample for you to start with. This is one of the hardest exercises that you have to do to reach to the next level. Okay, so everything you've gone through has probably raised a lot more questions and answers at iLAB, but let me take you through this exercise. So question 1, why is it important to you to become successful? So I think you guys need to write that down. And so I said, my first answer was, well, because I want to make money. Okay, then question 2 was, well, why is it important to you to make money? And I said, well, because I want to give my family a good life and I want to have freedom and to express myself, etc. And then I said, okay, well, why is that important to you? And I said, well, because I don't want to be tied down to a job and I want to have the freedom to do the things that I wanted to do. And then it became, why is that important to you? And I said, well, because I want to be able to impact people. I want to make a change in people's lives and I want to be able to share some of my experiences. And then it got to the next level and it was, why is that important to you? And that's where I got stuck at level 5. Because then you really had to drill down to the reasons that you, why these things are important to you. At the end of it all, what happened was when I got to level 7, my reason for wanting all these things is because I wanted my life to mean something. I didn't want my life to be here and mean nothing for anybody. I did this exercise with my brother who actually runs my business. And he went through it. And when he found out at the end was that he wants to be in control of his life. And so everything he does in my security business is that he puts processes in place, he puts controls in place, etc. And he's fantastic at it. He's over the top. It drives me crazy because it's just too much paperwork. But at the end of the day, for him, it was he wanted to be in control of his life because he felt that his life was out of control. And so he kept looking for ways to put things in place. But for me, it was, I wanted my life to mean something. And everything I do now is comes from that depth of wanting to people to know that my life means something and that I can contribute to the world. So I'd like you to take a few minutes just to go through this and ask yourself those questions. And if you get stuck, you're more than welcome to ask me. Does anybody want to share what they've got so long?
Okay, so for me, I've got to have an impact. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes. Okay, and then I answered it to be noticed. And why is that important to me? And I think it's a bit of a trigger to a childhood kind of issue, not being noticed. So that's where my thinking is going. It's I guess having being noticed, but being noticed for something that's worthwhile. And that's as far as I've got.
Cool. Cool.
Hi, Carrie here.
Was that you, Wendy?
Yes, sorry.
Okay, cool. Carrie.
Hi. So I wrote for what's important. I just said to be true to myself, and that way I can have some freedom, to just have good health, fun and connect, and just create a bit of a lifestyle that impacts people in the mix of it all.
Sorry, I lost you there for a second, Carrie. You're saying you would like to have freedom?
Yep. Some freedom just to have fun and have a healthy lifestyle, connect with people, and just impact people in the meantime.
Why is that important to you?
I guess I enjoy it. It's what I like spending my time to do. Yeah.
Okay. Elizabeth, you want to share?
Yeah, sure.
Oh, sorry, Liz. Liz.
So I kind of, yeah, it's okay. Thanks. You can call me Elizabeth. It is my name, but it's kind of weird. Okay, so I started with what is important to me about becoming successful. It's so that I can have money to travel. And then it kind of progressed to being able to learn as much as possible. And that kind of turned into so that I can maximize my consciousness through learning. It's really important to me.
Why do you want to maximize your consciousness through learning?
Because I think that attracts that kind of energy from other people. So it's like serving as an example.
Okay, so how do you want to contribute?
With
what impact do you want to
education?
make? What kind of education?
I guess like holistic education, like the body, mind, spirit.
Why is that important for you?
Because I think that's the way that I have found myself. Does that make sense?
Yes. So describe yourself to me. Why are you here?
I think, oh boy, Carrie, stop smiling like that. Sorry, can you say it again?
Why were you born?
Why was I born? I think I was born to shine light in darkness. That's such a cliche, but I think it's true.
You're a star profile.
No.
What was your profile?
The mechanic.
Mechanic. Okay. Systemizer.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Julie?
Me? So I've written,
Yes, Julianne.
The first thing I wrote about becoming successful was freedom, happiness, and then I wrote financial abundance. Why is that important to me? That my biggest why is to reduce the burden of chronic disease. Why is that important to me? Because I'm tired of sickness. I've been looking after people with cancer for 25 years, and I really want to come at it from the other end. I want people to not become chronically unwell. I want them to be well. I want them to be healthy. Why? Because I care about the human race. Why? Because I'm at my best when I'm in service to myself and others.
Like it. You remind me of my mom. She's also been looking after cancer patients for many years. And she's now 70 years old, and she spent the last 30 years looking after cancer patients, and her whole life has been dedicated to it, and she doesn't understand why, and she feels frustrated by it, and she says it's terrible to watch people die and to see the pain that they go through, etc. But you know, at the end of the day, this is her calling. You know, she was born to look after people and to look after the souls of people and to ease their pain. And once she understood that, life for her became a lot easier, and she started to look for more of those people, and she became able to feed herself with more knowledge and more skills, etc., so that she could benefit those people. And that's where the joy came from, is to see the sparkle in their eye, you know, when they do get it, when they find peace in in the experience that they're going through, you know. And she made it a lot easier for them to go through that transition to the other side. So that's the service that she has, you know, and it's pretty similar to what you're experiencing, and it's disheartening, it's sad, but you can't change that. You can work towards it, and you know, you're going to contribute to the finding of a solution for this cancer problem, but it's always going to be your life is always going to be there to help and to service and to ease the pain and to give them comfort through the journey that they're experiencing, which isn't pleasant, but you know, you're there to make life easier. So I see we've got some new people that have joined. Wow, what happened there? Okay, let me see. There. Teresa, you there?
Yes, hello. Sorry,
Hi,
I'm a bit late.
No problem. How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you.
Awesome. Helga, welcome. Manus, welcome.
Hello, Davi.
So, very good. So what we're going through is the 7 steps that I've gone through to try and identify my purpose and why I'm actually here. And so I drew up these 7 questions. So I'm just going to recap for everybody, which is why is it important to me to become successful? And then I give myself an answer, and then I go through the 7 steps. I don't know how much of that you caught at the end, but when it got to mine right at the end is that I want my life to have meaning. And so that comes from a deep-seated pain or experience that I had as a child, where I didn't feel like I was being heard, and I didn't feel like I was being taken seriously. And so my whole life has been to create meaning for myself and to create meaning for others. So I encourage you guys to go through this exercise, because it's a really, really, really powerful exercise, that when you get to the point where you sit back and you go, that's it, you know, this is the real reason why I'm here, you know, is to create meaning. And it's a really challenging exercise. It's extremely difficult to do, and I encourage all of you to keep working on it until you get to what your true purpose is, or why you're actually here, and what your passion is going to be is going to come from that, you know. So I've been in technology for the better part of 25 years. I've been in sales for 25 years. I'm a qualified minister, which I did when I was 18 to 23. And it's always been me in front of people, and me talking to people, and me sharing experiences and really sharing life experiences and trying to help people get through their challenging times. And then I moved into technology because I loved it and I thought it was cool, and getting involved with it just became more cumbersome. But my whole positioning with my clients has always been, so why is it important for you to have this technology, or why is it important for you to achieve what you want to achieve as a business? One of the biggest success factors that I've had in sales with all my customers, and the reason why I don't lose deals, I've probably got about a 90% success rate for every client that I do go and see is I always ask my clients, you know, what is the vision for your company, or what is the vision for your life? What do you want to achieve? And once they give it to me, then you know, so it's quite easy. If you go to a company's website, you can see their mission statement, or you can see their vision statement. But once you get that, and then they come and they say, well, we want to do this with this project, or do that with this project, it became really easy for me to link or create the link between what I was saying them and what their vision was. And often what would happen is the client would try and cut corners, or try and reduce costs, or would try and compete me with somebody else. But when we created the link between the technology or the product or service that they were going to acquire to their vision, often what would happen is they would have no choice but to execute the deal with me, because I created that link. And often when they decided they still weren't going to go, I could easily write an email to the board of the company saying, I don't understand why you're going with this technology, or with the solution, or with the service, or with this product, when if you look at the vision that you have for your business and the mission statement that you've highlighted, that you are now going to roll out this inferior solution, which is going to be in direct violation and conflict with your vision. And you're going to end up in a year from now having to take it all out and having to replace it with someone else. And often when they do the evaluation themselves, they do come back and they say, you're absolutely correct. We need to move with you on the solution, as long as you can guarantee that you will help us achieve the vision that we have for our business. And then the responsibility is on me to deliver on such. And so this has been part of the biggest success factors for me, not only as a mentor and a coach, but also in all the technology businesses that I've been through and that I've had, where I quickly highlight what is their purpose, what is the company's purpose, their vision statement, what are they trying to achieve, and how do we deliver on the solution for them. So it's all good and well that we have all these amazing products, or all these great ideas, and all these kind of solutions that we want to give to customers, or all these kind of value adds, or these conversations we want to have. But it's pointless. You are not delivering on the core vision that they have for themselves. And so often the most important thing is to help them identify what their vision is. And so the same exercise that I use here on how to become, why is it important for you to become successful? We just say, why is it important for you for this project to be successful? And then they give us an answer, and we say, but why is that important to you? And why is that important to you? And eventually you get to the real down reasons as to why the solution is extremely important, or the requirement that they have is important. And then it doesn't matter what product or service you have, as long as you can create the link to deliver on what they want. So use this exercise for yourselves in trying to identify what is important for you, okay? And then once you have that, then use that for your customers. So you can use this if any of you are looking at doing coaching or anything like that. Use this template and use this as an example of trying to extract the maximum value from the clients that you're working with. Because once you understand why you do something, and you understand why the customer does something, or why the customer wants to achieve a specific objective, then it really becomes a lot easier for you to deliver on that solution or that objective. Because people don't buy what you make or what product you supply, because they can get that from anywhere. You are not that special where you have a product that nobody else has. You know, if you look, I've used the example of chewing gum. You know, you walk into the supermarket, you find 5,000 different variants of it, but they're all making money. But Dentyne did really well because they had a tagline, and you can use all of them. So if I had to say to you, why would you as ladies use a specific brand of lipstick? You know, what is it about that lipstick? Because you can get red lipstick from anywhere. You know, so why would you choose a Clarins, or why would you choose a Revlon, or why would you choose a different brand? It's because you are buying the reason why they exist. And you might not know exactly what it is, but you have a sense or a belief that that product will give you, or that business, that company, that brand will give you what you want. and therefore you're willing to invest in that product or brand. So if you look at Apple, everyone uses Apple, but I love it because it's such a nice example. Apple is a computer company, just like HP or Dell or any other company. But why is it that people will sleep on the pavements just to be able to get the very first iPhone or the very first Mac? It's because they believe in Apple as an entity, and Apple's strategy is to think differently, not to create computer products. So that's what people are buying into. So if you can get clear on what you are or what your purpose is and why people will buy into you, you will be able to deliver on any product or any solution. So if I wanted to sell water, bottled water to an organization, or I wanted to sell pencils, it doesn't matter what pencil I'm selling, it doesn't matter what water I'm selling. I would want to know what the company stands for and what their vision is and why they exist. And then look at how we can package the water or package the pencils, etc., to such a point that it would deliver on their ethos or their way of being. Does that help? Everyone getting value from this?
Yes. David.
Okay, so I want to share something else for you. So in order for you to achieve a specific objective, there's lots of things that when you start working on your product or your service, or you start working on your why, etc., you have 10 million and one distractions. Okay, and these distractions are based on the things that you believe that you have to do. And so often if I had to say, so what do you want out of life? People would say, well, I'm not really sure. I'd want this or I'd want that. But if I'd say to you, what don't you want? Then it's amazing how long that list can get. Okay. So I looked at that and I said, well, let me apply that into my own life and start to create my not to-do list. Okay. So I'm going to share that with you now. Okay. So everybody getting this? Okay, so this is your not to-do list. Okay, so more important than a to-do list is your not to-do list. This exercise will help you find what you should not be spending time on and help you either automate them, delegate them, or eliminate them. What actions and what things do you spend time on that don't serve growth, greater income, empowerment, your spirituality, your family, or your bigger future? List the actions that you want to spend time on. Or list the actions that you spend time on. So, for example, some of the stuff that I had to change in my life over the last couple of years. Long-standing, long unstructured meetings. Okay, so we used to sit in meetings and the clients used to waffle on about this or about that, etc. And I decided that that was such a waste of time for me that if I didn't go to a meeting where they had 5 bullet points of the things they wanted to discuss and the objectives that they were hoping to achieve from that, then I wouldn't attend any of those meetings. If the client didn't have a list, then I would create one so that it was quick, it was to the point, it was precise, and it had an objective of what we were trying to achieve. So these are some of the things that I got rid of, was long unstructured meetings, answering voicemail. Okay, so those things I could automate. Simple things, mowing my lawn. You know, so the amount of time I would spend mowing my lawn, where if I could say, well, I'm going to, I want to create a new course or I want to create a new template, and this template would help people and it would help people to generate income. It would help me with my mentoring programs to help me generate income versus paying somebody $15 or $20 to cut the grass. I would rather pay somebody to cut the grass because that's where I would rather spend my time, which would give me a lot more value in the end. Fixing little things around my house, grocery shopping, creating brochures, going to Home Depot, etc., etc. So let's take a few minutes here and you guys just write down 10 of the things that you do every day or every week that actually frustrate you. Let's see if we can get to 10. So I'll give you 5 minutes or 3 minutes to write down a few points, and then we'll just go through some of them. James, is there any way that I can share this document on this chat, on this video?
That is a great question, Dave. We actually had thought about that before. As far as I know, we cannot. But if anyone is different, let us know. It is something that we can definitely share. So we'll have the recording of this call tomorrow, and then we can just share the document as well with that on the Facebook
awesome.
page. Yeah.
Awesome.
Well,
Should we get a share from someone that hasn't shared yet? Oh, welcome, Corneille. Welcome, Danielle. Is it Danielle or Daniela?
Danielle.
Danielle. Teresa, would you like to share?
She was having issues with her video, so I don't know if she's also having issues with the audio. Could be. Teresa, you're muted. Let me see if I can.
Helga, would you like to share?
Hi, sure, yes. Most of the things that hold me back in my business, I'm a hypnotherapist and a coach for women. And most of the things that hold me back is now I'm starting to become so busy that I need to create group courses. So I don't have time for much one-on-one anymore. I just want to have more people come into a course at a time. And what's difficult for me is to actually create the content for the courses, because I'm a deal maker profile. I do have creativity in me, but I'm better at sharing stuff that other people have done than creating it for myself. So I'm spending a lot of time on the creation and the tech and everything around it. And that's really holding me back right now. And apart from that, it's everything to do with the household, like cleaning the house and laundry and grocery shopping and that sort of thing.
Yeah, and those things really take a lot of your time, and they rob you of the things that the time that you should be spending on the things that you want to be doing.
Yes.
And often what happens, it's the balance between what is this thing going to cost me if I had to outsource it versus having to do it on my own. So you're trying to create that balance in your life. What is interesting is, I'll give you an example. So for me, some of the challenges that I have is to create a lot of this documentation that I've put together in my business. But the one thing that I quickly realized is that I'm not going to create anything that nobody else has created before. My personality will come out in my documentation, but it will always be pretty similar to what somebody else might have come up with. And sometimes you can just to expedite it is to copy and personalize what somebody else has done and put into your own system. When it comes to the home type things, one of the things that I started with is I looked at which day was more important for me to have a helper at home to sort out a few of the things that I needed to do, and how much would that cost? Would I be able to do that once a week or once every 2 weeks, so that I could get somebody to come and help with the ironing or help with this or help with that. One of the things that we found as a family is that it was a lot easier to and cheaper to use the laundromat to do all our ironing. So we did all our own washing, and then we outsourced the ironing to somebody else. We got a cleaner to come in once a week, and we just did a bit of shopping to see if we could just alleviate some of that pressure. But it was specific to a day. And so one of the things that I find is, does everybody know what a default diary is, and does everybody have one? Helga, you don't have a default diary?
No.
Okay, so let me use this example. So I have a default diary which I created about 2 years ago. It was based on the Genius U model, or Wealth Dynamics model. And what I did is I created each day for each one of the energies. So I have a Dynamo day, I have a Blaze day, I have a Tempo day, I have a Steel day, and I have a Y, or a Spirit day. And I split up my day that way because it allowed me to be in a specific energy for those days. Okay, so my Blaze day is on a Thursday. So for the last 20 years, there's a group of guys that get together every Thursday night. We all have dinner. There's about 20 of us, and it changes. Sometimes it's 12, sometimes it's 20, but there's always about 20 guys. And so what I did is I made my Thursday my Blaze day, which also allowed me to spend a lot of my Thursdays with social interactions with my clients. Because it is a social energy Blaze, it allowed me to spend more time. So I'll take customers for lunch, or I'll play golf on that day, or I'll take, or because I'm going out on a Thursday night. So it allows me to wake up in a specific energy, which allows me to target my day in a specific way. When I first started, it was a little bit difficult because I had to almost fit 2 types of energies in the same day. And I started off with a Dynamo energy in the afternoon on a Tuesday, and in the morning was my Steel day. So I had a very focused, detailed approach to my morning, and then in the afternoon I had to get into a completely different energy, which was, what is next? What are we going to get focused on and become more creative? And it was very difficult for me to shift into that. So I decided that what I'd like to do is create a platform or a week for myself, which allowed me to be in a specific energy for the whole day. And whatever wasn't going to be in that energy that had to be done on that day, I needed to find a way of automating it, or I need to find a way of delegating it, or eliminating it out of my responsibility. So it allows me the flexibility to shift things around, but to focus them on a specific day. So if I had to do, so let's say we're going to create a new product, or I'm going to create a new model for my mentoring program, that will happen on a Wednesday, because that's my creative day. It's the day that I have the least activities in the afternoon with my kids, or in the evenings, or whatever. So it allows me to wake up. I actually wake up a little bit later, but it allows me to sit outside and just ponder what is the next, get into that creative energy. I sit in an environment where it allows me to hear the birds chirping, whatever. So it gives me a bit of peace, and allows me to clear my head, and allows me to focus a little bit more on creating. So then I would sit where I am right now. I would have my laptop out. I'd have 2 or 3 screens up, and then I'd be able to create a different model, or do some research, etc., in this environment. If I wanted to, so my Mondays have become my Steel days, which allows me then to sit in the office with my management team in my security business, and then we spend the whole day just on reporting. So we go, what are the finances like? What projects are we on? What are the clients complaining about? What are the structures that we need to implement? What are the things that we need to change? What is the detailed to-do list that we need to create for the week? And then that gets delegated to management team to then delegate to the team, and they execute for the week. So they don't need me for the rest of the week. So it allows me to distribute that or delegate that to somebody else. Part of my default diary for the whole week is that I only check emails at 9:30 in the morning. So I'll go through my emails, and what I'll do is anybody that's top exec within a client, those are the emails that I will read. The rest of them I just glance over and I shelve it. I'll leave it for later. I then spend from 3:30 to 4:30 in the afternoon. That's when I go and check all my emails and I read through every single one and then do the responses. One of my engineers, one of my IT guys, what they were able to do for me is, I don't know how they've done it, but I know it's possible, is every single email that I was copied on doesn't come into my inbox. It goes into a different directory, a different folder, so that if it's not addressed to me directly, then it doesn't come into my email. Those I can take. I have a thing for myself where I would, okay, it was very difficult. I had to almost educate the customer by ignoring them. And then at 9:30, when I did take their calls, they would go, geez, you have to wait the whole morning for you to get to your phone. And I said, well, I don't take calls before 9:30. And eventually they got the point, because my phone would start ringing at 5 a.m. because customers think that if they have an emergency, it's also your emergency. So you start creating those models. And what became really important for me was to learn how to say no to various things, because we're trying to grow our business, we're trying to develop our strategies, etc. And we got so much stuff to get done that we don't have time to be distracted by silly things like customers and all those other things. So what you create is, what is my top 5 things that I have to do today? And then I set them up to happen from 10 a.m. until 3 p.m. It doesn't interfere with my email. It doesn't interfere with my meetings. It doesn't interfere with my schedules. So that if I have those default diaries, it's actually amazing how much time I've actually got left, or how much time has actually become available for me. And so I took the 3 things that I implemented in my business a few years ago, which is time, money, and people. If it's eating up my time and it's not making me money, I must get rid of it. If I'm dealing with suppliers or clients which are robbing me of my time and not making me money, I get rid of them. 2 years ago, we fired 40 clients because they were just robbing us of all our time. What that caused for us is, when we got rid of all those people, all those clients, we also didn't need 50 people working for us anymore. We reduced our staff count to 12. And then we took all those other people and put them onto an outsource model, which now we contract them in to do the work for us when we need them. But it eliminated the stress levels, eliminated the time that I had to spend not only with customers or suppliers, but also with the team that I had, but it also started generating me more money. Our security business tripled in revenue in the last 2 years, with 12 people versus 50 people, and with 7 clients versus 45 clients. So wow. Just to give you a perspective of what it actually looks like. And that's not only in revenue that it grew, but our margins also grew. Our margins were a lot healthier. And I was willing to take a call from a customer at 6 a.m. that's spending lots of money with me and hardly ever phones me, than to take a phone call from a customer that phones me every 5 minutes and say, I need this, I need that. Why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? I haven't got patience for that. So it became a model that we implemented in our business, which was, what do we say no to? And that became the most important thing. So if you take the 3 words, time, money, and people, which every business wished they had more of. You wished you had more time, you wished you had more money, and you wished you were dealing with better quality people. So if you remember at iLAB, one of the things that you spent time on in your promotion plan was developing your avatar. So if you can create your avatar and get really clear on the avatar, the universe will start delivering those people to you. A simple example is, I say, God, please, I would love to have a BMW. and live it on my front door. A 1973 rusted BMW with no wheels. And then I go back and I say, I don't get it. Why did you give me this? And he says, well, because you asked for a BMW. So the same thing with your customer. You will get whatever customer you ask for. If you're not clear on the customer you want, you will get every single kind of customer. So you need to get clear on the type of customer that you want. So you're actually creating more of a niche so that you can get the right type of clients coming to you. The one that's going to pay you on time, the one that's going to pay you well, the one that's not going to phone you every 5 seconds with all the crap that he's got, the one that's going to love spending time with you, that's going to look after you, that's going to pay you on time. I think I've already said that one. But those are the types of things that you need to develop, and you need to get really clear on the type of customer or avatar that you have for you and your business. So which leads me to Helga, does that give you a little bit of insight into some of the things that you could be looking at to help you change things? So,
I've been trying to set up this diary for a few months now, actually, and it's just difficult when you're in that kind of coaching business like I am to say no, like you said. When people say, well, I can only see you after 3 o'clock, you know, on an afternoon, because I'm working, I can only come to your office at 3 o'clock or whatever. That's why I'm creating all these group courses. I just started one yesterday, actually. So I'm shifting and my avatar is getting more clear. So it's absolutely makes sense.
Spend some time on your avatars, guys. It's really, really important that you do that. You don't want to, and just look at those 3 things: time, money, people. You know, so who are the people that are robbing me of my time? Which are the clients that are robbing me of my time and that are costing me money? And if possible, get rid of them. You know, it's just going to relieve your stress. My wife, the other day we went shopping and she says, oh, I love this white shirt. And I said, well, why don't you get it? And she says, because I've got 5 other white shirts at home. And then we get home and she doesn't wear any of them. You know, so if your glass is full of water and you want to drink Coca-Cola, the only way you're going to fit Coca-Cola into that glass is you've got to get rid of the water. You know, so give it to somebody else and then empty your glass and get yourself space to create, to get the stuff that you actually do want. So if we've got lots of bad clients 2 years ago, we got rid of them, and then we started to attract the type of clients that we want. You know, so we take on 1 new client in our security business a year, and I will spend the whole year looking for him and talking to them, etc. We had a client 2 years ago, a year and a half ago, that we went and see. It's one of the largest telcos in South Africa, or cell phone providers, and the guy was giving me such a hard time at our presentation that I said to him, you know, thank you very much, but I'm out of here. And he looked at me like, what are you talking about? Do you know who we are? I said, I don't give a shit. If you are Microsoft, if I'm going to have to deal with you every single day of my life, this is going to be a problem for you and I. So please, rather don't phone me again, unless you're going to give me somebody else to deal with. And I'd rather deal with your superior than with you. And he says, I can't believe how cocky you being, and wah, wah, wah. And I was like, this is who I am. You know, this is what we are. This is what we stand for. These are the type of clients we want to work with. You do not fit that mold. So it doesn't matter how big you are or how valuable in revenue you could be for my business. You are going to rob me of my time, and you're going to cost me money. And when I look at the people aspect, time, money, people, and the people that I have to deal with being you just don't fit my mold, and you're not the person that I want to work with. So walk away. You know, and the next guy got there and he got the contract and he phoned me and he says, please, you got to help me with this. I said, is the guy still there? He says, yes. Well, then I'm not working with you. He says, please, you got to help me. This is killing me. I said, well, I knew it. That's why I walked away. And so you need to get very clear on what your avatar is and what you want to say no to, who you want to say no to, because those people will rob you of your time. And at the end of your life, ask Steve Jobs, it didn't matter how much money he had. He only wished he had more time. So time is your most precious commodity, and just make sure that you don't waste it on people that you don't want to waste it on, because it's going to drive you mad. And it doesn't matter how much money you think you're going to make from them. Your closet is full of white shirts that you don't wear that are dirty, missing buttons. Get rid of them and make space for the new ones.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense.
Cool. All right. So I just want to share with you one last thing. Have you guys got a few minutes for me still? Am I losing anybody? Hopefully not. Okay. Can you guys see this?
Affirmative.
Okay, so this is the what the identity iceberg. The blue squiggle in the top of the screen is actually the ocean, and everything that sticks up above the ocean water is the top of the iceberg. And we all know that everything below the surface of the water on an iceberg is a lot bigger. Okay, so everything that sticks out above the water is your result. So everything you're seeing in your life is the results that you're achieving. If you're not achieving the results you want, to help you achieve those results, okay? And they get bigger and bigger as you go further down. So the first thing is, I'm not making enough money, okay? So is it a problem in your behavior? So I'll just use an example of our security business. We have issues with certain staff members, and we turn around and we say, well, is it a behavioral problem? Is the guy just being an idiot? Is he just being rude? Is there something we can do about his behavior? How do we change his behavior? How do we affect his behavior? Is there something about your behavior that's impacting your results? So sleeping in too late, spending time going to do grocery shopping that you shouldn't be doing, you know, where you can automate some of those things. Phone your husband or your wife or your partner on the way home. No, don't you want to pick up bread instead of you having to get into your car and go and do something. Try and delegate or automate some of those things, because maybe behaviors could be leading to that. So I want to lose 5 kilos, but I drink Coca-Cola every day. Well, change your behavior. Stop drinking Coca-Cola and you'll lose the 5 kilos. So its behaviors are also part of your habits, you know, so create new habits. So you want to lose weight, change your eating habits. You want to be creating a bigger impact. Maybe there's something that you need to be changing in your life. So pay attention to that. If your behaviors are fine, then maybe there's something that you're missing in terms of knowledge. Okay, and that's the reason why you felt that I'm doing all these things, I'm not achieving the results I'm getting, but I'm putting all this energy in, my behaviors are there, my intent is there, but I'm not getting the results. So Roger comes along and says, why don't you come to iLAB? And you think, wow, that's it, I'm going to go to iLAB, and now you go and get new skills and you go and learn new things. And so then you come to this program and now you're learning something new. So you developing your skills to enhance your behaviors to help you achieve the results. And in most times, like with my employees, if it's not a behavioral problem, it's definitely a skills problem. So we just look at how do we upskill. So part of our strategy was to create regular, part of our behavioral change was to create regular training sessions. And then it was to implement as many of these skills with them and bring the right parties in to develop the skills. If you got the right skills and you got the right behaviors, maybe there's a problem with the beliefs. Okay, so you need to look at your belief system, and I could spend 3 hours on this slide. But look at your beliefs and what do you believe about yourself. So I think once you go through the exercise we went through at the beginning, which is to identify why things are important to you or what your why is, you will start to identify what beliefs or limiting beliefs you might have that are impacting your results. Okay. But I don't think that it's going to work. But you know, it's raining. But I got to fetch the kids. I got to do these things. You know, so you might have all these little things which are playing up, which are restricting you from achieving. You know, it just isn't for me. It's not who I am. It's, you know, start seeing the world through the lens of everything is possible. You know, don't see it through the lens of making an excuse for it not being possible, because that will be a limiting belief. That's what's restricting you. When my business went through provisional liquidation in 2010, when the sheriff of the court came knocking at my door, my belief system could have been, all right, this is not for me, I need to start something else or go back and work for an employer or whatever. My belief system had to shift in that moment, which was, no, I didn't start this to fail. I started this to succeed. The problem that I have now is I've gone to the stage where I've developed my business to such a level which has massive potential successful, but it's failing. It's one step up. There's something that I don't know. And I went and learned what caused my business to fail and what did I need to change. And then from there, it led to my behaviors, which needed to change my behaviors, which then changed the results, and I was able to rescue the business. One step down from there is, what are your values? Okay. I have a very nice way of putting values. I always use time to determine the values. People say values are honesty, loyalty, integrity, faithfulness, loyalty. Everyone agree that that's a value? The problem with that for me is I don't wake up every morning to experience it. So I don't go to sleep and tomorrow morning I want to wake up and say, tomorrow I'm going to experience loyalty. I'm so excited. It's not part of my values. So what I determine my values to be are based on time, money, and people. Where do I spend my time? Am I excited to get this program going? Am I excited to work on my business? Am I excited to meet with these people? What kind of money am I going to spend on it? So just a simple example of money is, if you had $5 free money, what would you do with it? Would you buy a song on YouTube or on iTunes? Would you take somebody out for coffee? Would you give it to somebody? If you had $50, what would you do with that $50? You know, would you do it by spending time with somebody on the golf course or going out for lunch with somebody? Who are the people that you would spend that $50 with? Where would that time be spent? Those are what determines your values. And if you start to understand more of those values, it's the kind of things that you will want to spend more time and more money on, and the people that you'd want to spend time and value on, time and money on. And then the most important one of them all is your environment. Environment for me has been such a major shift, because it allowed me to, for example, when I'm in my dynamo day, my creative day, the environment that I'm sitting in right now is where I want to be, because it gives me peace. I can see the trees going, I can hear the birds singing, and allows me to be creative. If I want to be in my steel energy, then I'll go to the office and I'll sit in the boardroom, which is very strict, it's very limiting, it's very structured, and that's where I want to be for that environment. If I'm in my social day, I don't want to be anywhere near the office. If I'm going to meet customers on my social day, it has to be at a coffee shop, it has to be at a pub, it has to be on the golf course, it has to be at a different environment, because that's part of my environment that I want to create, because I want my body to feel that energy for that day. And then the other thing around environment is we become the average of those you associate with. So how many times when we were growing up, your parents would say, you know, that friend of yours, not a good influence on you, you know, and you'd say, oh, what do you know? And then today, some of you might have kids and you turn around and say, oh, I don't like that boy or that girl very much, in a bad influence on you. You become the average of those you associate with. And often what happens is we try and hold on to the friends or to the relationships that we've had for so many years that are limiting your growth. They're not encouraging you to grow. They're not bolstering you to move. And so I'm not saying that you must cut ties with them and become enemies. I'm saying change your environment. You know, try and connect with different people. Try and involve yourself with a different space, or try and influence your environment. So if you're in an environment with 2 or 3 friends that you hang out with all the time, and those people are not, you might be sitting there and you say, you know what, I love spending time with these people, but I didn't get anything out of the 2 hours I just spent with them. You know, I just feel like it's the same conversation, it's the same boredom, it's the same, you know, then you introduce the conversation. Bring something else into that conversation that might be of interest to you, and let's see what the other people, how they respond to it. If they do not respond to you in the way that you would like them to respond, then those are the people that you need to spend less time with, and start finding people that do want to have the conversations that you have. So environment is massive. I mean, there's so many things we can talk about environments, but the biggest ones are, you know, where are you working, where you're operating from. Try and change that environment as much as possible. So try and get away from the distractions. Try not to have the kind of distractions that you do have. And if you do pick up that you are being distracted, so if you work from home and you are working and then you get distracted, you know, let me just watch this little show on TV, or I need to go and wash the dishes, or I need to do this, or I need to do that. You know, change that environment, go work somewhere else. You know, it might be worth your while just to spend those 2 hours or that hour that you need to really focus, go and spend it in a different environment. And we all have friends, phone them and say, you know what, I know that can I use your hour today? You know, and then you take your laptop there, sit on the Wi-Fi, whatever, and just do what you need to do. But you're in an environment that's limiting you or limiting the distractions that you would have otherwise. So if you take this slide and you say, how do I impact my results? Is it my behaviors that I need to change? Is it something in my behaviors? Is it a skill set that I need to develop? Is it a belief that I need to check that maybe I don't have, or that I need to change? Am I being true to my values? You know, what are my values? And then what can I do about my environment that could change certain things? So in our security business, we found that we had 2 girls operating. One was running the help desk or projects, and the other one was running finance. And then once we did the profile test with each one of them, we found that they were both in the wrong positions. They were doing the wrong jobs. And so we were very frustrated with both of them because we weren't getting the results that we were hoping to get. And once we did the profile test, all we did was swap their roles. We moved one into the finance side and we moved the other into the operations side. And all of a sudden our business started to flourish. They were open to training. They were open to learning new things. And as they moved into that, we are now sitting 8 years later with the same 2 women that were working with us that we were looking at getting rid of 8 years ago. And all we had to do was change their environments and change who they were. Well, we didn't change who they were. We just had to give them the roles that were conducive to who they were. So if any of you are in coaching, I would suggest that you use the Genius U test, or use the Wealth Dynamics or Talent Dynamic test that you give to some of your clients to see where they are, to see who they are and what their impact is. Because it could just be their change of environment. It could be their job that they need to change. You know, there was a lady that we met a few years ago. She, Roger actually tells a story, but I'll summarize it for you. She was working for a large finance organization, for a large oil company. She was a financial manager. She loved what she did, but she didn't like what the company stood for, or the way that it handled some of the environmental issues. So what she did was she changed her environment from an oil company, and she joined an organization linked to the World Health Organization. And now she's a financial manager impacting the world environmentally, and she's doing exactly the same job, just change her environment, and she's thriving, she's loving life. So it doesn't mean you need to change your job. It sometimes means all you need to do is change your environment. And if you understand what your prospective new environment stands for, or what their vision is, and you can align it to your vision, and you can align it to your belief system, then you will find the results that you're actually looking for. And these are some of the things that you guys could teach some of your students if you are in coaching. So think about those things. Anybody want to say something? Ask a question. Silence is golden.
Hey, Davi. I've
Sure.
just jumped on a little bit late, but I'll go back and watch. I've just finished iLAB, obviously, and my environment at the moment is my #1 barrier. and I'm just looked at my calendar. I've basically got 30 days where I'm currently living before I free location and move to Bali full time. But I can see now how, even though I feel like my behaviour, skills, beliefs, values are very much in alignment, bar one or two little things. Like, I feel so frustrated lately because my environment just, it's not conducive to what I'm trying to do. I'm not surrounded by inspiring people. I'm working from my bedroom in this little village that I'm living in. And yeah, I can notice now how I'm trying so hard to do all those other things, but it's probably just my environment.
Yeah. And you'll find that once your environment changes, it's amazing how everything else falls into place. You know, and that's why at the bottom of the iceberg, it is the biggest. It's also the foundation to everything else, you know. So you change your environments, you change the people you associate with, you change your space in which you feel the freedom to express yourself. It's everything else aligns. You know, it's almost like going to a chiropractor and you've got pain at your low back, you fix it up and all that back just clicks everything into place when you're in complete alignment. So yeah, I agree with you. So if you feel that that's where you need to be, you're going to see massive results.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that.
Pleasure.
Thanks, Davi. Mansafa here. Can you hear me?
Yes, Vincent.
Hi. Just following on from Sean's question, I guess I'm also in a very similar, I left Bali, sunny Bali, and I'm back in cold England on my own. So is there anything you can do? I mean, the one thing that's great is that the group's in touch and we're always supporting each other. Do you have any other tips we can do to, when you're stuck and you really don't have a choice, you can't afford to move to your ideal environment or be around the people you want to? Is there anything you can do to sort of protect your energy or just function properly? Do you have any tips for that?
Yes, I'll give you an example of what I did to help me get into the energy that I want to be in for the day. So something simple I did at my office is I had a very dark office. It had leather couch and it had dark furniture and all that kind of stuff. And I decided, get rid of it all. And I painted everything white. So I got a white desk, I got white walls, I got all of those kind of things. And then what I did is I started putting up pictures of I'm a big sports lover, so I put up pictures of sportsmen that inspires me. So I got a Tiger Woods picture, I got a Valentino Rossi picture, I've got a Shane Warne picture on the wall. So all the people that inspired me because of their greatness. So every time I look up, I get inspired because it reminds me of the types of people that I want to aspire to be because they've made a massive impact in their sport. That's the kind of thing that I want to do. Is I want to make a massive impact in my world. And so that's the link that I created between who I am, even though I'm not in sports, but it's a link to their aspiration to greatness. That's what I want it to be. So every time I look at them, that's what I've done. Also, a very simple, easy trick that I did in my office is at the end of my desk, on the edge, my brother graciously put in some LED lighting. And so every day, the light on that desk changes color. So when I'm in my spirit energy or in my Y energy, the light is blue. When I'm in my creative energy, so let's say I wasn't in this environment that I'm in right now. So my environment right now is covered by green. So I've got green grass, green plants, etc. So when I'm at the office, the light is actually green. So it reminds me subconsciously that I'm in creative energy. And so that's what I've done. So it doesn't matter if I'm in my office on a steel day or a creative day, I've changed the color of the LED to reflect the energy that I'm supposed to be in. So if it's actually got to such a point where when my staff sometimes have a question, they walk into my office, they see, oh shit, I can't talk to him today because he's in green energy, so they walk out. So it became more prioritized for them, but now they know they can't ask me silly questions on those days. But in your environment, I know Bali is amazing. I think everybody would want to move there, and you have such an amazing experience when you at Vision Villas and you just you see the different ballets and how you can be in different environments. And so I've just taken that and I've applied it to mine. In our house, we've tried to incorporate as much of that color as possible. We don't, in our TV room, for example, I put a bit of reds and oranges in because that's supposed to be our social space. So we've kept a lot of the other colors out because we want to keep a little bit of that social element in, it's just things like that you could do. Just every time you feel like you're not feeling social and you want to feel social, go to a social space, take a walk, just take a walk outside and see where people are. And you don't even have to buy anything. You just have to walk around and enjoy being around people, because that's a social energy. If you're feeling creative, then try and find yourself on YouTube or on anything else. Just go and look for something creative, spend time on Pinterest. My wife does it. So when she feels like she wants to be creative, she jumps onto Pinterest, and then she just gets into that energy of being creative, because Pinterest has all these creative things and etc. So then all of a sudden she goes, oh, you know what I saw? This is what I'm going to do, and this is how I'm going to do it, because now she's feeling this creative energy. So there's a whole lot of little things that you could do just to change your mood. I know that my brother lived in the UK. I don't know how people do it. I think it's so dark and gloomy.
It's awful.
But I don't know how people do it. And I've got sunshine every day in South Africa. Even in winter, it's really cold at night and in the morning. But during the day, we're in t-shirts. So
yeah, no, that's perfect. Thank you so much.
Look for certain little things that uplift your mood. So if you want to feel that creative energy and you're just not getting into it, it doesn't have to be creative for what you do, as long as you get into a creative mood. Okay. And so Pinterest is a great tool that you could just jump on and you say, I'm supposed to be getting creative around how to set up a new program or a new company or whatever, and then you're just not feeling it today to set up this new idea for your new business. But if you get creative on some of the things that you do like, some of your values, some of the things that you would spend money on, so plants, a new decoration for your house or whatever, and you start getting, you watch some of those things, spend 10 minutes on it, it starts getting your energy into that creative mood. Once you're in that mood, then it'll be easier for you to focus on the other things. Does it make sense?
That makes so much sense. You've actually given me so many ideas, and it's incredible when because I'm very visual, so that having the visuals, so the boards of something to inspire to, and also the colors, like, and we just learned this as well. So thank you for that. I'll definitely be incorporating I've got a demusifier, I don't like it, that changes color. So I'll definitely be using that, because that will help me with my breathing, and the color will remind me what day it is. So wow. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Awesome. Anybody else? Nobody? Pollyanna, you look like you
one more question, if that's okay.
Yes.
I'm just wondering if you have any experience with people like me who are coaching people, hypnotizing and that sort of thing. Would they work every day of the week, or would they keep 1 or 2 or 3 days per week to have one-on-one clients and spend the rest of the week on working on the business? Do you have any experience? How do people do this?
So obviously I don't do the hypnosis in that, but what I do is, when I do my coaching with clients, it's on specific days. I don't do it on every day. I don't split it across it, because my energies aren't in that space. So I love to do my coaching in my creative day, because I wake up in that energy of strategizing and thinking about stuff, etc. So when the clients are speaking to me and they have challenges, I'm in that creative energy. So I'm looking for ways to solve their problems, etc. I would never see a client on a Monday. Because the Monday for me, the way I've set up my diary, is a very structured day. It's a very focused day on detail and revenue projections and projects and all those kind of things in a security business. But even in my coaching business, it's more around the structure. Have I got those things in place? And I want to be in that focused mind where I want no distractions. I just want to be focused and I want to be clear on what I want to do. That's why I'll sit in a boardroom, I'll lock the door, and it feels very rigid, it feels very structured, but it allows me to be in that energy. So you would need to decide how you want to do that. So one of the things that I've done is my Mondays have shifted a little bit, where Monday mornings is very rigid in terms of the structures and reporting. And I've incorporated into Monday afternoons now is projects. So what projects are we working on for all three of my businesses? I've got a security business, I've got a telecoms business, I've got my coaching business. But it's all around the structures that I want to create, the processes that I want to create in that. So I never see a client because that energy is just not going to be conducive to helping them. So I have a client who runs a chiropractor. And so what he does is he only runs his chiropractic sessions with his clients on a Monday, Tuesday, and a Thursday. On a Wednesday, he spends time on his business. And on a Friday, he spends time on back office. If the client wants to see him on a Wednesday or a Friday, then he passes them on to somebody else. Now, in your case, it would be a little bit more difficult because he's built his business now to have somebody else. But if you get clear on educating your clients on which days you can do that, unless it's an absolute emergency, you can help your clients. And you help your clients that are faithful to you, that you look after you, etc. Not just some man on the street phones and says, "Oh, I need a session, you need to help me today," I phoned a dermatologist the other day, and I said to them, "Listen, I have this issue, I need some help." They said, "Sorry, we're not taking on any new clients." I'm like, "But do you have clients coming regularly to you for little checkups?" But they were very strict in terms of the way they do things. So they knew how many clients they were willing to take on. And then they also know which days they will take clients. So if you can set that up, it becomes part of your default diary where you get very strict. It sounds difficult to do, okay? But if you can start with, I don't take on clients on a Wednesday morning. So you can do them in the afternoon. But you say, for the first 2 hours of a Wednesday, I don't do any clients. So you're restricting that. But then you fill up your diary for the afternoon with your clients. Instead of having space for 8 clients in the day, but you're only seeing 4, move all 4 of them to the afternoon. Don't have them scattered throughout the day, so that you're in a specific energy. And in your case, you might also have the need for a recovery period. So you might not be able to do 4 sessions in a row because it might just drain you. So you might want to say, I can do 2 in a row, and then I need an hour break, and then I can do another 2. So you set it up that way. And then you'll start seeing the type of clients that you have. So the chiropractor, what he does is he's established his business to such a point now, after working with me for a year, that he has a client book of X amount of clients, and he knows that they're regulars. And then he decided that there's certain clients that he will see and the rest need to be given to somebody else. In the beginning, when he started doing that, he didn't have an additional chiropractor on his practice. So what he did is he tied an agreement with another chiropractor and said, "Listen, I've got clients that come to me on a Wednesday. I can't do them on a Wednesday. Can I refer them to you? But you then pay me a commission for the clients that get referred to you." And they would come to you with a reference number. So he would then give them a reference number. They would go, they'd get a specific discount if possible. And then he would come back and say, but they would book with that other doctor through his own practice. So I would phone you, you'd say, "I can't see you on a Wednesday, but what I'll do is I'll refer you to somebody else." And then you would phone that person and say, "I'm setting up a meeting for Davy, and this is the reference number." Cool. And then I would go and do the session. And then he'd be able to claim back his commission on that. But it got to a point where he had a whole lot of clients that he didn't want on his books because there were irritations to him. And he was able to palm them off to somebody else who was willing to take on those clients. And he's taken his business to a point where the clients that do see him Monday, Tuesday, Thursday are actually paying him 30% more than they were before. because if they want him, this is his rate. Everybody else was then palmed off to somebody else. And now he only does sessions in the mornings, Monday morning, Tuesday morning, Thursday morning. Everybody else in the afternoon goes to his other chiropractor, someone that works for him. And if they want to see him specifically, those are the times that he operates. So deal with the pain another day and come back tomorrow, you know, and this is great.
Yeah.
But you need, I know we all want to help, and that's the biggest challenge, because you want to help everybody, but you can't. And what happens is helping everybody steals time, money, and energy from you.
Yeah. Oh, I've learned that the hard way. Yes.
Cool.
Good.
Awesome. Everyone got some value out of this. I'm glad. Kerry, you want to say something?
No, that was awesome. Thank you. I think I froze. That was cool. Thanks a lot.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you, Davi.
Yes, thanks, Davi. Thank you very much.
Imagine. Over to you, James.
From beginning to end, very happy that I was here to hear all this. Thank you, Davi. Valuable as always.
Awesome. Thank you so much, guys. I hope you find your purpose. Spend some time on those 7 questions. And use that pyramid. Use the identity iceberg to impact your results. And one little change, that's all it takes. One little change a month. You don't have to do it all. Just make one change a month and you'll see that the change is happening quite quickly.
Awesome. Thank you a lot.
Awesome. For anyone that wants to go through this again, because there was quite a lot of valuable information, we're going to post a recording tomorrow on the iLAB Global page. So be on the lookout for that. But yeah, thank you once again, Davi. This is James, by the way, if anyone was wondering. All the best to everyone. Have a wonderful week. And yeah, thanks again for joining.
Awesome. Cheers, everybody.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Have a cool day. Bye.